good evening, everyone, to Pod 8. I'm GSG, also known as Drew.
Hey guys, I'm Gem Airsoft.
And I'm Sarah, also known as Airsoft Vixen. And tonight we have our guest, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello. This is very strange. Yeah, hi, I'm Eddie, and I own Lonestar Tactical Gear.
So, just a few things before we get started. First thing is we announced it last time on our previous pod, but our charity game tickets are now live, which is being held on the 6th and 7th of July. So you can buy tickets on Skirmish Wickham's website. There is a limited number available, so if you want to come, make sure you get yourself a ticket. Second thing, also, don't forget that we still have supporter patches available. They are able to be bought through if you message one of us admins or the UKAL page, and then we can sort out payment and get them posted to you. But we'll also be bringing them to our meetup that we've got going on Sunday at Green Ops UCAP. And yeah, we'll bring the patches there. So if you want one, let us know. So yeah, this evening we're joined by Eddie from Lonestar Tactical. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. It's good to be here. The first one for me.
I'm glad we got him first. So, first thing, when did you start playing Airsoft and what got you into it?
I started playing in 2008, and there was a local site to me at the time that used to be called the Asylum, run by First and Only Airsoft. And it was, I think I was selling a few things on eBay at the time. Like military stuff that I'd had left over. So I kind of got rid of it, a lot of it. And I met a guy who was well into airsoft. In fact, he was a complete loon. And he said, "Oh, you should come to this airsoft." Well, to be honest, my interpretation of airsoft up until that point was, a Springer. That was all I knew about airsoft. I'd shot a lot of real guns up to that point, but never airsoft. And so he said, "Oh, you should come." So I met him, and he provided me with a few airsoft guns for the day. One of which I lost, and which he wasn't happy about, but it was all right. And that was it, really. It was kind of like, this is just a good laugh. In fact, I think at the very, very start, it was even more fun before you get into the realms of you feel like you need to spend a lot of money. You can just kind of run around in a tracksuit and just enjoy yourself. And that was it. And then I started finding out about other sites. They had another one that was at tunnels, Draco tunnels. So I started going there and then traveling to different ones. And that was it, really. It didn't necessarily take over my life. It was kind of like as and when I knew somebody, started to get to know people, and they were like, "Oh, you should come to this one or come to this site or Anzio or various different ones." I think most of them are closed down. Anzio is still going, but a lot of them are closed down. It's like, "Oh, yeah, go and try that." But it wasn't like I had to go to airsoft. It was just something I enjoyed doing if I got the time, really. So yeah, it's 2008. That was when I first started.
Nice.
Long time ago. I'm old.
I'm going to really rudely interrupt because I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast that we've actually got a limited exclusive discount code available for this evening. So Eddie has very kindly organised a discount code which you can put into his website. It's literally only available for 24 hours. So if you want to definitely get yourself a new Face Pro, you can use this code. It's now up on the screen at the bottom. And yeah, so go check out his website. I'll see if I can get it up quickly on here. There you are. So if you go onto his website, you scroll down, there's the man himself. And yeah, you can have a look at all different types of face spray that he's got, but I think we all own one, don't we? And they are really comfortable, really good quality as well. But yeah,
I think I've still got my prototype one.
Yeah,
Before
I've
you
seen you in it.
before you started actually selling them.
Yeah, we'll go into
was-
more detail about them later on. But yeah, definitely.
I'll show you the differences in a bit because I've got all 5 variants, so I'll show you what the difference is between them.
Awesome.
Sounds good. So yeah.
So, Eddie, what sites are your kind of favourite like go-to sites, and which sites have you not played at yet but would love to?
That's a tough one. It is a tough question, actually. It really depends what mood I'm in. Actually, sometimes I really like village style ones where it's really up close and personal, but then that's really because I am getting old. It is a case of whether I really want to be running around like a madman for the day. But there are times where a woodland's great because you can kind of get a bit of a distant shot. You don't have to, Sarah knows because I've played a lot of games with Sarah before, and we just like to hang around at the back, picking people off. So that's they're both good really. I played at a jail. I think was it the last game I played was at a jail. I think the last game I played was at the jail. That's good. And I managed to hook up with a team there, and so we were kind of in and out of all these windows and everything. So that brought back a load of good memories for me. But but generally speaking, I kind of like all the sites. It's if the atmosphere is good, if you've got a load of really good players there that are just there to have a good laugh. It's great. Obviously, it spoils it when some people don't like saying they've been hit, etc., which we all know. But generally speaking, I think any sites are good. I kind of like Woodland as much as I like the jail or whatever. They're all good, really. As for what site I'd like to play at, in the UK, I'm not sure. There's so many of them. There's one down in Dover that I quite like the look of. I can't remember what they call that. The Citadel, I think it's called. In fact, I know the lady who owns that. So yeah, there's that one. But pretty much any site I'm happy to go and play at. I'd like to go and play at some in Europe. The problem is every time I go over to Germany, it's work related, so I don't kind of get to go and play anything while I'm there.
Yeah.
There's the biggest one in Europe is in the Czech Republic. That's what that's basically like their version of NAF, I'm assuming. But they have, I think, up to about 8,000 players there, so that would be interesting to go and see how the hell that works. So yeah, but the problem is, as you all know, because we've met lots of times, it's always retailing over playing really, and it's rare that I actually get to go and play at a game, which takes away some of the fun, I suppose.
Yeah, cool.
So what made you get into the airsoft business to start with, and start up Lonestar?
Well, one of my friends, this is going back, during the war, when one of my friends wanted to start selling airsoft stuff. This is the same guy. His name was Steve, and he wanted to start selling airsoft stuff. So this was back in about 2009, I think. And we kind of clubbed together a load of money and started selling, holsters and, various stuff. Then we kind of went down the road of selling riffs, and it was really, it was really expensive. And at the time, there wasn't so many retailers. So it was kind of easier to get involved, and you could have a cheap website and you could just start, banging things out. But we piled every penny back in. Anyway, we kind of had a bit of a fallout, which was a shame because he is a nice guy. We had a bit of a fallout, and I was working at the time anyway, so it's kind of I didn't really have all the time I needed. So when it came to 2020, when COVID hit, when it really started, I was kind of like scratching around for things to do, and what am I actually going to do? So I started buying in some. I had a lot of military stuff of my own, still again that I'd bought and stuff I'd used. Started selling on eBay, as that's how it starts, and then ended up having a website and doing what a lot of people do in the start of buying stuff from various Chinese websites and selling it. You might make a couple of quid here, a couple of quid there, and started up at the business of Lonestar Tactical with a website and just going okay. Then obviously, we kind of like started looking into various different things of what we could maybe specialize in. And Face Pro was kind of like one that we looked at, and we weren't sure about whether there was the market for it, because you either really like Face Pro or you really hate Face Pro. You're right, like there's no in between. It's like you either wear it or you just don't. And so we just kind of just went with it, really. A lad that I played with when I first started playing again showed me some Face Pro. Sarah knows who I'm talking about, but showed me some Face Pro, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. That's really good. What can I do to make it? Is there anything I can make it better? And then that was that. And I'd already got a manufacturer abroad that I was kind of like sending things like patches. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you make this? Make that? And so I said, I bought one and sent it him. I said, can you make one of those? And he's like, yeah. So, and that was really where it started. And then it was kind of like, well, how can we improve it? Well, we'll do this and we'll do that. And we won't have any off-the-shelf colours. We'll just do our own versions. So there's no copyrights, and we'll powder coat it and we'll make it stainless steel rather than just normal metal. And that was it. So November of 21 was the very first masks we brought out. And I think we had 100 masks, and they sold in 2 hours on the website. Yeah, and it was like, okay, so that was it. So it's all that money again went straight back into buying some more, and that's where it really started. So that's where the business started. Then it got to about February or March, and the stuff that I was selling as well, which people know about, which was like BBs, gas, consumables and pouches and various other things that some things were having made, a lot we were buying in. It just wasn't selling as quick as the masks were. So it's kind of like, well, this is a no-brainer. We're just going to have to carry on with the masks. Then obviously people start saying, well, can you do one that covers the nose? It's like, how are we going to do that? So that's really how it all started. So it was a bit of a fluke, really, how we ended up with just specialising in face protection. But yeah, it's good. It's a good ride.
Yeah, we have had a couple of comments. Yeah. Ryan's asking for grey again.
Grey. What grey does he want now?
Oh, I don't know.
We've we do a light grey, which is kind of like, it's pretty close to like an Artrex grey. If he wants a darker one, I can get Ryan a darker one.
And then we have and then he said handsome chap messaged you on eBay.
Oh yeah, in fact it was Ryan.
That's how I know Eddie. Ryan messaged him on eBay. I think he saw something in the background of one of your pictures.
Yeah, it was a helmet cover.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't want to buy what you're listing, but in the background I might sound weird, but where did you get that? I was like, oh, and then we all started chatting and stuff, didn't we? And
well, I had a prototype Team Wendy helmet, and I bought a cover for it, and in the background was this Team Wendy helmet with, like, I don't know, maybe I was selling a patch or something, and it was just to make the picture look good. Yeah, and he sent a message saying, have you do you do the helmet covers? I'm like, well, no, but I can get them. And that was it. that was, and then I think Chunk then wanted one as well. Then I think Ryan wanted one for you as well. So and then that's how it started. And then obviously I came down. That was my first game in a long time. Was when I came down to play down at Battleground, and I think, did I bring one then, or was it after that? I can't remember. But then some of you guys were the ones that tried the prototype masks, the very first ones. Yeah, of whether they were going to work or fog up or whatever. So yeah, you were the ones that tried the first ones.
I should have got all my masks out and counted how many I've got.
You've got loads.
Like an evolution of Lonestar masks. Emma has put, thank you for supplying Face Pro for people with small faces.
Yes, I second that.
Yeah. Oakley has put, I've been buying from Eddie for years, such a lovely fella, and also supplying me the goodies.
Yeah, he's always spending money with me, Oakley. He buys stuff that's not for sale. He says, have you got this? And I'm like, yeah, I've got it. It's my own. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll buy it. So, and then I'd be rude to say no, of course. Yeah, so, yeah, some great people. That's the best thing about Airsoft, really. You can go and play, or you don't have to play. You can just kind of go and meet the people. There's so many nice people, that are all just in it for the good fun, a laugh. It's a kid stroke adult game of just running around shooting each other. Who does not like that?
Definitely.
My bank account.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I think everyone can relate to that.
It's my turn, isn't it? So, okay, you probably just said this to be fair, what's your favourite part of being an airsoft business apart from the money you make?
Well, just that really. You get to meet so many different people. There's so many kind of great people that are just in it for the same thing. They just want to have fun, just want to enjoy themselves. You've got I think there's different stages of airsoft. There's an evolution. You join it right at the bottom when you're running around in the tracksuit. To kind of then you kind of get a bit more into it. So you go out and you buy your ex-army clothes and your gear and that, and then you save up a bit more money, and then you go out and maybe get something a bit better. And then you got I'll call them the top echelon of airsoft who run around with thousands of pounds worth of cry gear on. And I do exactly the same, so I can't say anything negative about that.
To say.
Yeah. So yeah, but I think you just meet so many people, whether it's their very first game or whether they've been playing for 20 years. Most people are just there just to have a good laugh. And even when you're retailing, I spend, well, you all know because I don't stop talking, but I mean, I can spend hours talking to people at the shows. In fact, probably missing sales with other people half the time. But yeah, it's just great people, generally speaking. So yeah, that's really what keeps you going, is when people say, oh, this is great, or, the feedback's always good, of course, business wise. It's like, oh, this is great. And you're going to get some people that it just does not suit. You can't please absolutely everybody. And when it comes to a mask, everybody's face is a different shape. So, you just got to keep going and try and improve it or bring a better version out or whatever. So the evolution of the Face Pro. But I think why I started the right at the start, going back slightly, with the face protection, there's some great brands out there, and we all know who they are, whether it be an expensive brand right down to kind of my kind of closest competitor of Delta Mike. Brilliant masks, and I will never say anything negative about anything that anybody brings out Face Pro wise, because ultimately it's there for a reason, is to protect your face and your teeth. So I wanted it to kind of be available for everybody on a budget. Whether not everybody can go and buy a ghost mask at 100 quid or 75 quid or whatever they cost. So buying a mask at 20 quid, that's why the prices have always stayed the same. Kind of try to make it affordable for everybody to get. So yeah, it's just a good industry to be in, I think, and you're forever meeting nice people, whether that be retailers or other airsofters. So we've all got the same thing in common. We like shooting each other, not getting shot, but shooting each other.
While we're on the note of actually talking about the masks, don't forget, guys, we've got our discount code that Eddie's given to us exclusively for you guys watching the podcast, and it's only available for 24 hours. So if you want to buy some of his products, make sure you use that discount code before it runs out. So Eddie, tell us a bit more about your masks and the designs and their features and things.
Okay. Well, just so happens like Blue Peter now, because I've got some. So I'll go for the evolution. So the very first, you have to exclude the colours. These are the first ones I grabbed out of the sample box. So this was the very, very first mask, meaning the mesh mask. And it went through about 4 evolutions, I think, in total, before we got to this is the very first one that we bought out that people could buy. And we went for we made the padded part thinner, slightly thinner. It means that it sits closer to your face. And some people don't like that it's really padded and sits further away. So that was the first thing that we did. And we made it stainless steel as standard, which was nobody else was doing at the time. And also powder coated it rather than spray painting, because people like Ryan, Sarah's Ryan, will know that the paint comes off on the on some of the others. So I mean that's good in itself that other manufacturers or people who sell the masks have now started doing that as well. So they're all on par really. So that was the very first one, was really just to cover your lower part of your face. Then we got asked for actually that's not true. The next thing was that we wanted to bring one out for people who sweated a lot, and when I'm running around in full kit I sweat a lot, so we then went with exactly the same mask again, so it's still the same padding, still the same everything, you still shape it yourself to your own face, but this one was we called this the Bravo mask, and this is a moisture wicker. So it effectively helps to draw the sweat away from your skin, and it keeps you cooler. So that was really, having had the first one, which was this one, which has obviously got lots of holes in it. This one has got less holes, but it draws the sweat away from the skin. In fact, at the shows, this is one of the best sellers, because once you explain to people, this is really better if you sweat a lot. That's what people tend to buy. They're like, oh yeah, I didn't realise that was what it was for. So that's good. So that's one of my first questions at a show is, do you want to protect your nose? Do you not? And do you sweat a lot? And that's what we do. Then we've been selling those for about, I don't know, maybe four months ish, and then you start getting the bombarding of things, of emails and people quite rightly saying, "Oh, your masks are really, really good. It's a shame you don't do one that covers your nose." Like, how are we going to do that? So we took one of the standard masks, all the ones that have the padding that you can fix to your helmet or whatever. We took one of those and we kind of shaped it and cut it and messed around with it to see how slim we could get it, how kind of small we could get it whilst keeping the same protection. And the very first ones that came, it's funny because we actually spent £3,000 on a mould to get it to the perfect shape, right? And then when they came, because they'd all been pushed into the box, they were completely flat. And so we were like, what's all that about? And then it actually worked as the perfect thing, because you think, well, actually, not everybody's face is the same. We've got this that it'll fit like 3 people's faces really, really well. But what will fit my face might not fit Jem's face, or it might fit Sarah's face, but not fit Drew's face, and so on. So in the end, we said, well, actually, scrub the mold, just use that to stamp out the shape, and then the end user can shape it themselves. So that's what it did. So that's how they come now. They all come flat, and it's really down to you. Now, I'm going to use this time quickly just to explain, having it completely straight like that is not how it's meant to be, people. Okay. So it sits completely flat is not how it's meant to be. You've got to create space about here where your nose sits. And it's a real thing of mine how many people I see in pictures where it's just like
Same.
that.
And
And
I'm
it's
like,
like,
no.
please no. I spent thousands getting this shape, please no. But obviously some people, they struggle to shape it, etc. So for example, you just saw that was flat, that I flattened it out. So that's kind of like already put one bend in it that goes round, which is to this way. It is literally a case of shaping it yourself. So the idea behind it is when you've got it on your face, just keep manipulating it. If you really need to create a lot of space, you can kind of get it on the edge of a table. I mean, it is metal; it's not going to break. So you can get it on the edge of a table to create more space in this part here. And so ultimately you want it so it kind of curves like this. So it kind of curves and creates as little amount of space as possible. And that's it. That's the Sierra mask.
It's my favourite one.
Yeah. And then we'll move on to the other ones. So then we go on to the next ones where people are saying, well, the masks are really good, but do you do them in a balaclava? That's the next thing. So we then got a balaclava and basically did the same again. So you can buy them in the versions. We added pull cords to the back. Because of the weight of it, although it's not very heavy, if you don't shape it right, sometimes when you're running around, this is kind of doing this as you're running about, which defeats it if somebody gets that great shot and it just happens to go. So the idea is once you've got the balaclava on your head, I'm not going to put it on because I'm old with grey hair. And when you put it on, you can then use the cord at the back. It kind of pulls that in right to your face. So it creates a better fit. And that's exactly the same between that one or the mesh one, which is a mesh. We call them the Plus. So they're called the Sierra Plus or the Mesh Plus. It's because you can wear them like either way. You can either wear them as a balaclava or you can tuck that in and still use it as a standard mask. So you still kind of got both. So it's called the Plus because it does both. So instead of buying the mesh version, you can have like the balaclava version and it does the winter and the summer theoretically. So that's the main masks. Too many.
Awesome.
Not enough.
Well, you saw NAF, right? How many masks there were at NAF?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
A lot.
I think in let's say the mesh one in multicam, which is or the not multicam, but the version of multicam.
Yeah.
I think we had I don't know nearly 100. I think on the Friday when we started, and by the end of the Saturday, they'd all gone. I think we sold like I don't know what seems to be an endless supply of masks at NAF. They were just going.
We were so busy. It was amazing.
Yeah. I remember being in there, people asking if you had any left, and you were like, "No, I sold the last one now."
Yeah, that's a good turnout for you.
Yeah, definitely.
It was really good. I mean, NAF was really good. I mean, this is the thing about events is that because I don't play at the events, I don't hear or see all the politics involved in it. In the sense of there's things that AI 500 goes on, or there's things that NAF go on. I don't see any of that because I'm just in a tent. Yeah, so it's like all I know is that people are coming in and buying masks, or they're coming in to help. They want help shaping the mask, or they want to buy some patches, or they want to, or we just talk for hours about, experiences about face protection or whatever. So as for like the ins and outs of what an event is like, or what happens at events, is I don't really get to see much of that. Being stuck in a tent and sending Jen to go and get cans of beer from my.
I remember.
Yeah, can you go get me a beer, Jen? Get me a beer. But yeah, I mean the atmosphere enough for me. I mean, exclude the playing because I didn't play. The atmosphere in the evening was amazing. It's the first thing I've been to where I thought this is amazing. So hence why we're booked up to go this year again.
Yeah. Awesome. Obviously, there is a new venture that you've taken on. Can you tell us a little bit more? Can you tell us a little bit more about the Lone Star Pro side of things?
Okay, so the background to Lone Star Pro is I've worked been in an industry which and a training that they do a lot of realistic training, real training with real guns, and so I know a lot of people in the industry before I even started doing the airsoft stuff. And with airsoft, it's kind of like I personally feel like I've kind of come to a point with the Face Pro where the most I can do now is I can bring out a new color, I can't really redesign the wheel. You know, it's kind of like, you know, we sell nearly 100 masks a week, and I don't, you know, it's kind of like I don't really can't see anything I could do to make it better that would suit everybody. So it's kind of like, well, what am I going to do now? You know, this I need an adventure, you know. So I just started speaking to a few people that I knew and got introduced to a few more people, mainly in Europe, and started coming up with a few ideas of actually what started it off was trying to design a mask that could be used by the law enforcement as well as for their training. I'm quite happy to say that because I haven't got a sample to show you, but that's like an evolution that's taken nearly a year, and it's still not over. It kind of goes up and down. And whilst I've been waiting for that mask to kind of come to fruition through various testing and everything, it's kind of like, well, what else can we do? So I spoke to a load of people who do regular shooting on the range, some people that carry firearms every day, you know. So it was kind of like, well, what can we produce that could be used in a professional setting? And that's really, I'm not going to tell you what the things are until they're released. But there's some, I think we're about 14 products in, and some of them are being tested. Some of them are on like the 4th or 5th variation. You know, the new website at the moment is kind of like, it's not live, but we've got like, you know, the general apparel stuff like hats, t-shirts, patches, various things like that. But there's some great products coming. They're not necessarily geared for airsoft. Of course, if airsofters want to buy them, that's completely fine. But they're really geared for professional users, you know, such as military and law enforcement. But it obviously the threshold and the bar for that material or for those goods is so much higher than it being for airsoft. I could make an airsoft holster tomorrow that would suit, I don't know, 10,000 people might absolutely love it. And it might last a year before it starts kind of wearing a bit thin in certain places. But you just can't have that with military. They've got to have it that it could last 20 years in a battlefield. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work. But yeah, some great products, some great ideas, some clothing, some not clothing. Yeah. It's really hard for me not to say because I like to say stuff. Some people do know certain things because I've, you know, kind of said, well, what do you think about this? And I like to use people's sounding boards. I send various things out. Like Oakley is an example of that. He's been testing one of the products out in an airsoft environment. So yeah, we'll just wait and see. I'm hoping to have. I'm back off to Germany again, probably in about 3 or 4 weeks, with 2 completely finished products that have been very ups and downs over the past 4 or 5 months. And so hopefully that'll be good to go. So, you know, maybe March, mid to end of March will be the first things. And then there'll be stuff coming in every month, hopefully. But we've already got retailers in specifically Germany that are interested in the first product, retailing them. So we just wait and see. Just hope it all works out, and just keep going. It is exciting, but as you guys know, because you know me outside of this podcast, it's tiring. It's a lot of work, and I kind of need a break, really. But I can't take one because I'm too engrossed in trying to find the next best product. Everybody wants to produce the next cry, and I want to do the same. So yeah, we'll just wait and see what happens. But I'm excited about it, but I'm just generally tired, So that's why it's kind of like, that's why I'm a bit. Just want to go to bed. But yeah, so it's good. So that's as much as I can tell you about Lonestar Pro. Oh, there was one thing I can tell you. So we've got there's one thing. So I can kind of just give you a glimpse at one thing. So obviously people know about MB Tactical. This will be for airsoft, and this is thanks to just his name's just gone completely from my head. David.
On the spot.
It's really gone, and I'm so sorry if you're watching. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten your name. But anyway, so he kind of came up with this idea, and then we kind of ran with it to see where we could go. So obviously, we wanted to bring out our own version of effectively of like an MB Tactical mask, much cheaper. Take the good things from our masks, as well as some of the good things from the MB Tactical, and kind of combine them as best we can. So this maybe will be available in about the next 4 to 5 weeks. So you can have one of two variants of masks. So it's basically the insert of the Sierra mask. This is a sample, by the way, so don't expect too much. But this isn't just an insert. It comes kind of semi pre-molded in the packet. We've changed the top for neoprene over the fabric which is on the Sierra mask, and that's just because it sometimes when they're out the factory, the way that it's stamped is that it doesn't sometimes fall on the right place, if that makes sense. So you end up with like little knobbly bits, and so we wanted to kind of get rid of that. So we've gone with neoprene, and also it helps with the sweat as well. And the outside of it is Velcro, soft Velcro. And the reason is then for snipers who want to just to have an insert, they can Velcro it into their sniper hood. Just Velcro it. They could stick it in, of course, but I mean, you could just Velcro it in, so you take it in and out if you want to wash your hood or whatever. And then the inside's still the same padding. So that was basically that. And then we've got two variants of hoods. People will know these ones because we went to the same place that get MB Tactical to get them made. So people will know the basic hood. And I think, Jem, you saw me trying one. Was the Iron Sight, didn't you? I was trialing the black one. I wanted to try the black one. So this is obviously the Ranger Green one. And we've got two variants of these hoods. So this is just the standard one, or there is also a fire-resistant one if you really want to go extreme. But that's it. So that is kind of like the only pro product that's potentially designed for airsoft. Everything else has been designed for the professional market as such. So that was like a little bit of a sneak peek that I probably shouldn't have shown you, but oh well.
To be fair, from what obviously I know, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Well, you know everything, Sarah.
Well, yeah. I reckon, as much as you say a lot of the pro products aren't aimed at airsofters, I reckon you will get a few of the airsofters still buying some of it, to be fair.
I'd imagine so. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, if a certain product has been kind of tested, well, if a certain product's been tested by certain special forces and it's good for them, then I don't see why an airsofter would have any problem buying it, other than I don't know what the price would be. I can't even answer that at the moment. But
then it's similar to when they all sort of, wear cry and stuff like that.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, there's the problem is trying to come up with something that isn't already readily available, and that's the key. It's like you can go and buy a 1,000 plate carriers, or you could go and buy 200 slings, or 200 pairs of trousers, and so it's trying to find something that no one else does, or having something that's like that you've adapted yourself to fit a certain criteria. So it does get very complicated. And the problem is everybody's different as well. So a lot of the people I speak to in Europe about certain things, I'm like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Should we change? Should we change that? And everybody's got a different interpretation of what they think would be the best idea. So it's really kind of amalgamating so many different ideas. I mean, I'll make, people who know me, they know that I speak to a lot of people in Germany, and there's a lot of ex-forces that I speak to at various departments, and a lot of people who do a lot of range instructors and things like that. So a lot of it really is professional stuff. But as I say, the bar is high when it comes to that kind of gear. You're kind of trying to compete with people who have been in that industry for a long time. So you've got to have something that they haven't got. But then if you've got something that they haven't got, have they thought about it and just dismissed it because it's never going to make them any money? That's the problem. You might think, oh, this is such a great idea. Everybody has those moments at 2 a.m., when you've had too much to drink. Oh, this is such a great idea. Oh, the world will buy this. Why has nobody made it? And then you make it, and then you realise, actually, now I realise why nobody made it. It's because it's either too complicated to make or it's too expensive to make. That's another problem you come across. Everybody wants some ridiculous amount of money. I mean, just for Sharpies, here's an example. That's probably giving the game well something. But so we want to give away a Sharpie, with a certain product, a professional product. And it's like I went to loads of companies and said, we want them printed with our own name on. It still say like Sharpie, but we want it with our own branding on. And it's like they come back with, I think the cheapest they had was like for 500 Sharpies, was like 750 quid plus VAT. And I'm like, how can I give those away? When you're spending nearly a grand, or it is a grand, I suppose, nearly, on pens, it's like now I'm going to guard them with my life because they're so expensive. But so it just, it gets expensive, but you kind of just have to take it and say, oh, well, we're going to give it a go and see what happens.
That's cool.
Nice.
So you mentioned that you were going to NAF this year. What other events as well will you be attending?
Well, NAF for me was a no-brainer. I had to go to. We did so well last year. I mean, even if we did a fraction of that, I'd be happy this year. We changed the pitch for NAF this year because we want to also have another smaller tent behind with the pro stuff in, or with whatever we've got by that point, just to kind of gauge some interest and let people see what there is and so on. So there will be the pro stall there as well. Hopefully with a couple of mannequins, but they're also expensive for some reason.
Hopefully Gary will turn up in time.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it Steve, not Gary?
Oh, I thought it was Gary. What
Who
was
else?
his name? I've forgotten now.
I don't know. I can keep coming up with names, just really weird names. Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, who's Gary and Steve? Like in the comments.
Yeah, well, they don't move. They're free as well. You don't have to pay them for being there for 3 days. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to NAF. We're obviously going to come to your event, your charity event.
Mm-hmm.
We have got Operation Scorpio for people who haven't heard of that one. So that's a potential big event. Although if I'm honest, I don't know a huge amount about that one, other than it's going to be a big event, a bit like NAF from what I can gather. But yeah, and then we've also we'll do the Midlands Airsoft Fair like we did last year, and we will be going to No Man's Land for their weekender event because we did that last year as well. I don't think there's anything new this year other than Operation Scorpio. We did AI 500s and that last year, and we'd go and do those again. Ultimately, it's not an event for us in the sense of we're going to be playing the game. It is an event where we can meet people, hopefully sell some products or get kind of feedback from people. So that's more what the events are for us. And also, you'd be surprised, even at NAF, few people, like we'd been going for 18 months at that point, there were people like, I'd never heard of you, never knew you existed. You know, it's like, God, where have you been, on Mars? You know, it's like,
Everyone knows who you are.
yeah, promiscuous is the word, isn't it? I think. But yeah, so yeah, those are the main events, and we'll kind of. The problem is we don't like. If I had my choice, I'd go to every event. But from you guys know how long it takes to put my stall up. I mean, if I'm doing it on my own, I mean, thankfully I'd help last time. But if I'm doing it on my own, it takes like a good 5.5 to 6 hours to put my stall up. And so when you get people say, "Oh, can you come and do this?" and it's a day, you're like, "No, I can't do that." You know, I'd have to be setting the stall up from 2 a.m. in the morning. You know, so it's sometimes you could obviously cut the stall down and just take certain things, but whatever you take is never going to be right. You know, somebody will want the thing you haven't bought with you.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I'd rather take the whole stall or nothing. There are a few places that I go to where I load up the van with like the boxes without the stall, just load up the boxes and just, you know, go down because I know people who are there that want masks, etc. But generally speaking, you know, if it's not a whole weekend event, then I just can't do it really. It's just too much work for a relatively short space of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be us. And I might go over to. I'm meant to go over to Northern Ireland for a Skirm Shops opening, moving thing. That I think that's at the end of this month. But I don't know if I'm going to be taking any stuff to sell because that again, when you look at it, you think, well, I can fly there cheap, you know, or I can drive there and take the van and go by ferry and take all the stuff and the stall, and then it's like 10 times the price of flying. And it's like, well, actually, you know, I might as well just fly and go and enjoy myself for the weekend.
Nice.
We did have a comment asking if you are going to IWA. Which.
Sorry, you just have to spell it out to
When is it? When is it again? End of February.
I don't know when it is.
IWA. Am I missing something? What is IWA?
It's literally in like.
It's massive.
It's literally in
It's really massive.
2 weeks.
I don't know how to describe it.
I think
It's basically
like
event. You go.
Massive event. Yeah, they've got loads of airsoft stalls and stuff there. Loads of like the real steel, like all the shooting and everything there as well.
Where is this?
It's not here. It's.
Is it not in Germany?
I want to say Germany.
No,
I think it's Germany.
I've gone blank. I literally
It's
had
like
someone
a SHOT
asking me
show,
if I
but
was
in
going.
Germany.
There's meant to
European
be.
SHOT show.
Rob's put
There's
a
one
big gun fair in Germany.
So there.
A big gun
Where?
fair in Germany. It's in Germany.
Right. Okay. Well.
What is in Germany?
Okay. Well, I am meant to be going to Germany, but I won't be going to sell anything.
I think you can.
It might be worth having a look round.
Yeah. Well, the honest answer to that is no, because I didn't know it existed. So I will definitely look into that.
I believe it's very, very expensive to have a stand there.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they've got real steel there. Then it wouldn't surprise me.
To have a pitch, I'm not going to say how much, but I did get told a rough idea of price to have a pitch there, and it was a lot of money.
And I think
I
can spend like nearly like I think what is it 3 days, and you can spend the whole time it's open basically walking up and down stalls, and you still won't.
Yeah, it's massive. Everyone.
It's the end of this month.
I'm pretty sure it's the end of February.
So. Rob will know. He'll put it in.
Okay, well, I will definitely look into that. The answer to that was no. I didn't know it existed, or if I did, I'd forgotten about it because I've got my head full of stuff. But I will definitely look into that. I won't be retailing there anyway. Potentially next year.
It's not for selling because it's more of like a show than a selling. He said it's not for selling, it's to show products of companies. It is expensive to get a booth, but we go also with Airsoft World to talk to the stands that are present.
Okay.
And Ash put it's Germany's equivalent to SHOT Show in Las Vegas.
All right. Fair enough then.
Yeah.
So I will definitely look into that. If there's something worth going to, I'll go. I have no problem.
Might be worth looking around.
It's
networking.
End of February. Rob said he'll send you a message with some more information.
Thank you very much. See, one of the things that we didn't. Go on.
They do. Sorry, they do a massive social as well. So they do a big meal. They call it the meal sim or something like that, I think. And they go out and have beer and massive meal as well.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I bet all the people that I know in Germany probably know about it, and they're going.
Yeah, they're probably all going. Yeah.
They don't want to invite the English loose cannon. That's what it is. But no, I'll definitely look into that. Yeah, definitely.
No,
Yeah.
So
I do want to go one year because I reckon it'll be awesome.
I do.
I want to go.
I did look at tickets.
Like girls' trip next year.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Eddie, you can come with us. You can pop a wig on or something.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I've got the man boobs for it, so I'm okay. I can definitely.
Get girls on top.
Yes, that's right. Costs me money anytime I'm with you girls, so actually.
So we've come to our part of the show where we do our UKAL Player of the Pod. And this week, or this pod, it's not every week we do this. This pod, it is Airsoft Lady Venom, who Sarah knows a little bit more about.
Yeah, so just a little shout out for her. So she's been playing since 2021. And her and her partner travel the UK playing at various different sites. She says she does quite enjoy different types of airsoft. She hasn't got a favourite, whether it's Woodland or CQB. I think she quite likes to switch it up. A couple of her favourite sites she's got: Jail, Anzio, Warzone and HQ. And you will mainly see her with her Crytek Vector, fully modded. She's got various other things as well, but that's her go-to. But yeah, we met her at the Airsoft fair, didn't we?
Yeah. I think that's where we first met her. She came up with her partner. Yeah. At the Airsoft fair, we got a little photo. It was nice. That's when we told her about UKAL, invited her into UKAL. And then I met her and her partner at Warzone for the Halloween event. They're a great couple. He is trying to get me to get a drum mag for the Scorpion Evo. But yeah, she's just really great.
So yeah, if you want to give her a follow,
a cheeky follow.
I believe we got her thing to put up.
Yeah, I had it up.
Oh right, sorry.
That's all right.
A bit too slow.
It's strange because I can't see any of this. I'm just looking at myself on the screen and what's going on.
Hopefully that will change soon. So yeah, that was our nominated player for this pod. Yeah, so if anyone's got any more questions they want to pop in the chat, go for it. Just want to say a massive thank you to Eddie for coming on the podcast. Obviously, you said this is your first one, and you've been a supporter of UKAL since the very start, which we really appreciate. I think you were the first business to get on board with us, to be fair.
To be honest, I'm a supporter of anything that brings more people into airsoft. It's not necessarily about retailing. It's really about most people I knew when I started don't play anymore. And obviously situations change and, financial and whatever, we all know that, but, it really is enjoyable for everybody, regardless. You see so many different people playing. So, anything that brings more people into the game, then the better.
Definitely.
So, yes, you're welcome. I think Sarah's team, the original team, was the first team I ever sponsored.
Yeah. I think I've got I don't know if it's still on your website. I'll have to have a little nosy. There was a picture that you popped up on the website of me.
I'm gonna have
a very old picture from when.
Was it of you, or was it the team?
No, there was one of me, and because I remember you messaging me like, "Look at the website." I can't remember. It was like under the sponsored bit.
I'm gonna
Oh, I
do
don't
it
know.
now live.
I'll have to.
I'm gonna
I'll
have
have
a
it.
Yeah, well, I'm looking as well.
Oh no!
Everybody's got their
Don't.
phones
Oh,
up
I
looking.
should have said that. Oh.
look. See it.
Hold on.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, we were the first. I think we were the first team you sponsored. And
You
then,
definitely were 100%. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
because we were prototyping all the masks before you had them out, didn't we, for sale? And we were like testing all the different versions and that.
Yeah, because the very, very first multicam that I bought out was, some things are lost in translation. It's like trying to get that right colour. Oh, it took nearly a year.
We were holding all the masks up with our kit, like, not quite.
It goes with that. But also as well, that's a big problem, and that is why we kind of come up with our own colours or our own variants of colours, is because all the kit is different. So exclude the fact that, like, if you had a Cry, you could say, well, a brand new pair of Cry is a completely different colour to a pair that's 2 years old. So if you exclude that from the equation, you've then also got like all the different brands, everything from like, FMA immersion gear right the way through to Cry, and everybody uses a slightly different variation. So it was very, very difficult to get one, for example, like what we call the MT multicam or MTP or something. It's had so many names. But to try and get it that it matches. We've been doing one actually, which I've got to get back on top of, but we were doing one with Desert DPM, and there's a guy that we were kind of sending him. I think he had about 3 versions we sent. They all look great to me. They all did. I was like, that's a bit lighter, that's a bit darker. And then I sent them, and none of them looked right with the gear he'd got. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So some of them are a real pain to get, close enough, the variants of stuff. So but the MTP, God, that was a real pain. That's why there's one called Hybrid Multicam, because that was our original multicam.
Yeah, I think I've got one of those.
Don't forget, guys, we use discount code along the bottom. So anyone watching the podcast tonight can use his discount code, but it's only available for 24 hours. So
treat
yourself.
And
anyone who knows, we don't do discount codes. So this is the first time we've ever done a discount code, for published anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're a special.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
Why not? It's Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Well, Valentine's treat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Get one
and there's
for
even
you,
pink ones.
Other half. Get 2.
Yeah.
One for the dog.
Ryan's in the comments. Ryan, get me a mask. Discount code.
Yeah, Jake, I hope you're watching.
Oh, no, yeah.
Should have done one with a half.
Oh yeah. Did we talk about that? We missed the question.
What
was it?
I was going to talk about custom masks.
Oh,
yeah, you stole Drew's question.
Okay. So custom masks.
Custom masks.
The answer is yes and no. That's the easiest way to put it. Yes, being that we can do custom masks, but we don't tend to do them for the reasons I just said. Really, was that it's very, very difficult to get colours and patterns right. The reason is everything's heat printed. So what might look good on a computer, when it then gets printed, it looks okay, and then when it goes through a heat press, it then changes colour. But we can do custom masks, but also you have to keep in mind that the setup and everything that's involved in that with our manufacturer, you've got to be talking 10 masks, 12 masks. It's okay if a team wanted them, with 20 people in a team, you could do that. But to do like one, it just wouldn't happen. The costs alone would kind of outweigh. Well, I mean, if somebody wanted to pay £200 for a mask, that's fine. We could probably do it. But that's when I've paid the designer to design it on the computer, to then pay the next people to do their bit, and then it's got to be made into a mask and then sent here. So it does get expensive. That's why we buy in so many bulk. I mean, we own the manufacturer now, so we're lucky in that way. We don't have that cost, although I have the costs every month instead. But it's I don't know, but yeah, we can do custom masks, but it wouldn't be like a one-off thing. It would be kind of like you'd need to have 10 or 12 or 20.
Yeah, minimum
that
order.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ryan has asked. I don't think you are because you haven't mentioned that you are. Whether you're coming to our meetup this Sunday?
No.
No.
100% no.
Oh, he can't. He's already had to deal with us all tonight. He can't do it again.
He
on
could have just
Sunday.
messaged me that. He could have just sent me a message with that on. No, the answer, I didn't know about it until the other day. For social media, I have to kind of keep myself off it a lot of the time because I could spend hours just watching cat videos and stuff like everybody can. And so I try to stay off social media as much as possible and only kind of put minimal posts. So some things I don't see until it's kind of too late, really. But I'll be at the next one.
Cool.
Hey. Well, you're at our charity event for the whole weekend anyway, and you'll have your
I
stall
am,
there
yeah.
as well. So
I signed up for
everyone
that one.
can come and have a little look. Yeah, you can't back out now.
No, that's it. Hopefully by then we'll have some of the professional stuff as well. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'll probably bring cut down on some of the main mass stuff, not bring some of them, but bring some of the pro stuff as well. So kind of start to get a bit out there to see what people's feedback is, whether it be interested in their airsoft if they wanted it or not.
Sounds exciting.
Awesome.
Right, so again, massive thank you for Eddie for coming on and
You're welcome.
being
Very much.
bombarded with questions.
Yeah.
Our,
No, I've just talked as always.
our next podcast, I can't. What's the date?
Please don't say it's me. Please don't say it's me.
The next podcast is going to be
27th?
on the 27th of February.
27th February, and I believe, all being well, it should be with Mr. Barrage, Rob. So yeah, make sure you tune into that one. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching tonight. Don't forget the podcast that will end, the discount code that will end in 24 hours, which is podcast 10.
It will.
So yeah, cool. Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
Thank you.
see you all soon.
Take care.
Bye.
I like the love heart.